ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Elmore deep, left side, Bryant, good! From 30 feet, John Elmore!
The Drive with Paul Swann.
Welcome in. It is the Wednesday, June 6th edition. Your drive starts now on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Also streaming online at WRVC.com. We've got a fun show today. David Kahn is going to be joining me, the voice of the West Virginia Power. We're going to get caught up with him. Also, Hurricane baseball coach going to join us. We're going to talk about his team's championship over the weekend and Class AAA baseball in the state of West Virginia. And, of course, your phone calls at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. Big night, Game 3 tonight between the Warriors and the Cavs. And good news for Golden State because Warriors head coach Steve Kerr said that there's a good chance that, guess what? They're going to have a little bit more talent on the roster available today. Andre Iguodala might be playing tonight. He's missed the last 6 games with a bone bruise, and we'll find out tonight if he's going to be playing. Looks like he will be. 9 o'clock tonight. We're going to go on the air at 8:30 over on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Now, I've been kind of following what's been happening with the NBA and John Beilein, and it looks like John Beilein wisely listened to some other offers other than what's with Michigan's plans, and he announced today on Twitter, of course, it's where everyone goes these days, that he's going to coach at Michigan next season and in the years to come, is what the quote was. He had discussions with the NBA's Detroit Pistons about their vacant head coaching job. Unfortunately for them, they got to look elsewhere. John Beilein probably used that as a great negotiation tool with Michigan. He's brought a lot to the Wolverines, brought Michigan back to a nice place in the college basketball ranks, and so he's going to be sticking around with Michigan for the foreseeable future. So probably a good deal on his part. He's probably going to get paid a lot of money. Speaking of getting paid a lot of money, Forbes list is out. Highest paid athletes. Top 10. I'm going to go bottom top. We all know who number 1 is, but just in case, a little suspense there. Matthew Stafford coming in at number 10. He's making $59.5 million. Matt Ryan came in at 9 with $67.3 million. Steph Curry, he's at 8 with $76.9 million, and I'm sure that'll go up sometime. Roger Federer representing the tennis court, $77.2 million. And then you've got the king himself, LeBron James, pretty spread out between what he's getting paid to play basketball and endorsements and other things. He is earning $85.5 million, so he's not hurting for money. Looking at the top, though, if you're trying to figure out where the money is, and let me tell you where the money is. The money is in soccer, and the money is in boxing, at least if you are Floyd Mayweather Jr. and you're Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor came in at $99 million. And, of course, a lot of that was help with his fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr., who clocked in at $285 million. Most of that is fight money. Endorsements, not that much. Doesn't get that much endorsement money. His money comes from actually putting it on in the ring and making money that way, and that kind of work. In the soccer world, Messi made $111 million and Ronaldo made $108 million. So your big heavyweight hitters are coming from soccer, the fight game, and then you see some basketball thrown in there. Now, LeBron, of course, is going to get paid more than most in the NBA. Steph Curry is going to be that way as well. It's easier to pay these guys the bigger salaries because there's not that many on the court. You're not going to see the major salaries in the NFL. It's just not going to happen because, well, there's a lot more you got to work with there. You've got more players, more people on the field, and you can't spend all your money on one guy. You can max someone out in the NBA and then get a few guys, a utility player or two, some mid-level contracts. Baseball, you're going to see some good salaries there. You're not going to see it at the level of, say, Floyd Mayweather, but you're going to see some good salaries there. It's interesting. Floyd Mayweather Jr. just goes out, pay-per-view numbers. They don't call him money for nothing. And he goes out, makes money. Conor McGregor, I'd be interested to see if Conor's going to be in that high bracket next year, the year after. He's pretty much the only name in the UFC fight game right now that has any weight. And, of course, the soccer guys are going to make money. Soccer, they make stupid money. And there is a strong appetite for the game of soccer everywhere except for the majority of the United States of America. Of course, some would argue that. That's a changing dynamic. The talk has died down now that FC Cincinnati's got their team. I know leading up to that, there was a lot of chatter, a lot of talk about FC Cincinnati getting an MLS team. That's kind of died down a little bit. Now they actually have the award because there's not much left you can talk about. But there's been a lot of chatter about that. And, of course, now you're bringing Major League Soccer to Cincinnati. That's going to be another option for a lot of fans who want to go see professional soccer, and I'm sure it's going to be good for the soccer game. I don't know if necessarily regionally, locally. In Ohio, it's probably going to help at least southern Ohio, parts of Kentucky, and it's an easy drive for a lot of people who want to go see. So I don't know how that's going to help, but you're not going to see MLS guys up there. You're going to see the Messis and Ronaldos of the world because they're not playing in the United States. So you're going to see a lot of those guys on this list. But LeBron James, looking at $85.5 million, pretty balanced. Again, a lot of his promotion because, well, let's be honest, he's a good spokesman. He's got a lot of deals. If you're going to have someone represent your product and you're looking for a professional athlete, I think you can not do much better than LeBron James, Steph Curry. These guys really represent their product. You don't hear anything about LeBron James that would make you cringe, like, oh, man, we shouldn't have signed that deal with him. He handles his business. Now, he is politically outspoken, but I think that's part of his appeal as well, that he will actually speak on causes and he will tell you what he's thinking, speak his mind, but I don't think at the same time that he's been disrespectful. He's not. He's not been disrespectful at all. He's just been honest about that. And, of course, I think that shows in his earning potential. I wonder if I took a fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr. If I could get some multi-millions of dollars, I'd take that fight. You would too. I would take that fight. We're going to come back and get started with David Kahn, voice of the West Virginia Power. Also, we're going to talk to Hurricane baseball coach Mike Sutphin, talk about his championship team. Take your phone calls later on. It's The Drive. It's ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. It's now time to talk West Virginia Power baseball, and to do so, we welcome the voice of the West Virginia Power, David Kahn. And David, it's been a rough week for the Power. Still some hope to make it competitive towards the end, but right now things have kind of not been going the Power's way for the most part on the road and home as well.
Yeah, it's been a tough stretch. You've lost 12 of your last 17 games, and, you know, every team hits a stretch like this throughout the season. It's just a rough time to hit it for the West Virginia Power, and you look at it, and it's not really one thing you can kind of blame upon. It's, you know, sometimes the bullpen can't hold a lead, sometimes the starter just doesn't look good, sometimes the offense just can't get it going, and you really just kind of look at it from all different avenues and say, well, you know, one thing happens, you correct that the next night, and then it seems like something else just doesn't seem to go right. So you look at the games like last night's finale in the doubleheader where the team puts it all together. Ike Schleybaugh throws 5 shutouts. The bullpen is solid, and you get 10 runs on 11 hits. And that's the team that, you know, that this Power team has been the first month and a half of the season. And the last couple of weeks or so, it's just kind of been a little bit off.
Now, things aren't that dire. You're only 6.5 out, but Kannapolis has been really good. Lakewood's been solid as well, and they're 2 back. So it's not as if the Power is playing bad baseball. It's just been a really bad stretch as of late, and Kannapolis doesn't seem to like to lose. They're really very good as far as keeping that lead.
They are, and, they have lost 3 in a row, but you kind of look at it and go, well, we're 6 back with 15 to go. Obviously, hopes are not as great as they once were, but you have the opportunity if Kannapolis goes on a little bit of a dead stretch like the Power had been of late. You have the opportunity to kind of maybe sneak in there and make it competitive. Obviously, you got Lakewood surging as well with Delmarva. So there's not just Kannapolis to deal with now. You've also got Lakewood as a 1.5 games back, Delmarva 4.5 back. And the Power do only play one of those teams, and they played Delmarva. So those games against Delmarva, we said they're going to matter, and they might matter a lot more than we think they might this time next week.
David Kahn's our guest from the West Virginia Power. So if you could put your finger on just one or two things that have really been plaguing the Power that just for some reason can't get fixed, what would those things be?
I don't know if there's anything that can't get fixed. I think one of the things is just inconsistency. You see the team come out and they have a 4-run or a 3-run lead in game 1 yesterday, and then all of a sudden Max Kranick just goes from being unhittable to getting batted around in the 5th and the 6th inning, and all of a sudden we lose 7-4. And then in game 2 you come out you're like 10 runs in the first 4 innings, the game's over, and Ike Schleybaugh throws a gem. So you kind of just look at it from both sides and say, well, you don't want to blame any one particular thing, one particular person, because there really isn't one particular person to blame. This team is very good at being team-centric and, taking everything as we win as a team, we lose as a team. And, you kind of just sit back and look at it and go, well, we didn't get it done tonight. What are we going to do differently to get it done tomorrow night? So I don't really think there's one specific thing that you can pin the recent woes on. If you want to look at one stat that I've looked on and touched upon a couple of times in our notes, the home runs have been an issue for West Virginia. Max Kranick gave up 2 more last night, 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and the Power have given up, were one of the most homer-heavy given-up teams in the pitching staff in the South Atlantic League. So that's certainly been a little bit of an issue, but you also look at the fact that these guys haven't played this long of a season before. Most of them haven't, so most of them aren't used to playing more than 40 games or 50 games, whether that's in college or in high school or in the first season of the pros in rookie ball. So you also have to take that into effect. Getting a little tired, a little fatigued.
David Kahn, our guest from the West Virginia Power. So the goal still here is to win as many games as possible because the second half of the season is still in front of you. And also the great thing about being in the league is that if you have a great season, second half, and you don't win the top of your division, and you had a solid showing in that first half, and you didn't win the top of the division, and the same team wins it both halves, you still have an opportunity there. So really, there's plenty of reasons still to be playing your best baseball, or at least be going out there and trying to win every game you can.
Yeah, and of course, the minor league's all about guys getting bumped up and moving on. But these guys certainly are looking at the standings and saying, all right, what do we need to do to get into the playoffs? We want to get back to the playoffs. We want to compete. We know this team is good enough to compete for a South Atlantic League championship. And, guys like Evan Pachota were competing for us there. He got the bump up to Bradenton today. So big move there for him. Big congratulations. Well-deserved for Evan Pachota. And this team is changing a little bit. Blake Wyman got bumped up last week, so the bullpen certainly getting a bit of a new look feel to it. But you look at this team, and there's still the core of this team is still there and willing to fight and grind and just, dole it out game by game as they try and work their way back into contention.
Now, as the Pirates continue to play baseball and the Power continue to play baseball, we're over now the baseball draft, sort of the lifeblood for all of these franchises, both major and minor. And if you would, I don't think a lot of people understand who maybe are just casual baseball fans. Okay, draft day, kid gets drafted, what's next, and where do the Power organization, where does that work into this? Because you see these kids and you're thinking, oh, hey, these kids are coming to Charleston, right?
Sometimes yes. Sometimes the answer is yeah, they'll be here. Sometimes the answer is no, and you don't know. Unfortunately, most of these kids actually, at least the ones in college, some of them are still actually in their collegiate season. They're playing for a College World Series title, so they're focused on that right now, and then they will focus on going to Arizona or Florida, working out, and then seeing where they're going to fall. But for the most part, these kids are now, in negotiations, looking at contracts, and for some of the later round kids, they're also making the decision of, if they're in college, do I want to stay another year in college, or do I want to take the money that the team is offering me, or do I want to education for those in high school saying, do I want to go to college versus get drafted out of high school? So there's a lot of decisions going on, and it's a lot to place on some of these 18 and 19-year-old kids, and some of these kids on the Power experienced that last year. I mean, Travis McGregor was a second-round pick a year ago, so he's experienced it. You have guys like Cal Mitchell, who was an early-round pick. He experienced it as well. And, it's a tough decision for people as young as some of these kids have to make. But it's also an exciting time for them. I mean, they have a chance to go play professional baseball, and it's certainly hard to pass up an opportunity like that. But you look at basically the quality of the talent and the quality of the opportunity that the team is offering you, and then you kind of make a decision from there. For those that have decided to go play baseball, really from here, it's all right, where am I going? Let's pack up my stuff and let's go get ready to start this new adventure. And then they'll be located at the team's spring training facility, just kind of do a workout, see where the team likes them, where the team wants them to land. And then from there, they'll get assigned to an affiliate. Usually they get assigned to a rookie level affiliate. There have been cases where some players get assigned to low A or high, even high A right out of the bat, and that just depends on the talent level and where the team thinks that they fit in the best. So from our standpoint, we don't really know where some of the top draft picks are going to be. We certainly think some of them might end up here in Charleston at some point in the year, but we just don't know when that will be, and we won't really know until a bit later on.
It's always fun, though, just to speculate. Okay, well, I get to see that kid come through Charleston. Is he going to bypass Charleston? Is he going to work his way to Charleston? You're really something if you're bypassing Charleston and moving up the ladder, but usually it's always fun just to speculate. Now, we're getting close to the end of the first half, and that means All-Star, and, of course, there is West Virginia Power representation. And you got a couple of guys in there, and I'm not surprised Calvin Mitchell is there. Deion Stafford also going to represent the West Virginia Power. If you would, talk about the All-Star game coming up and those two young men and why they deserve to be there.
Well, both of them are entirely deserving. I actually think there were a couple more guys in the Powers team that were deserving that I don't want to say got snubbed because our division's All-Star team is absolutely stacked. And, everyone who got an All-Star nod is absolutely deserving to do so. There's just not enough spots for everyone that is deserving of the All-Star nod. But we'll start the All-Star game June 19th in Greensboro, North Carolina. First National Bank Field, a very nice ballpark, going to be a great event. I know Cal and Deion are both very excited to head on down there and show off in front of the South Atlantic League faithful. So, huge congrats to both of them. As you said, Cal Mitchell having an incredible season. No surprise that he is an All-Star. First All-Star nod for him, so he's certainly going to soak in the entire experience. Very, very deserving guy, very nice guy, very, very calm and collected at the plate. He's really started to find his swing well. It's just been great to see Mitchell after a really strong April. He kind of tapered off at the beginning of May, but then he all of a sudden just tweaked some things, and he's back to the same old Cal Mitchell. So, an All-Star nod seemed to be very much in the cards for him. For Deion Stafford, it's great to see he gets his second consecutive All-Star nod. First catcher for the Power to earn an All-Star nod since 2014. Reese McGuire was the catcher that last went to the All-Star game for the Power. But Deion, again, one of those guys that you just really, really pull for, an incredible leader behind the plate, respected by the entire pitching staff, really knows how to hit the ball well. Defensively, he's gotten a lot better. His arm has gotten a lot better behind the plate, throwing runners out. And, he's worked really, really hard, and to get an All-Star nod is just a sign of all that coming to fruition.
Now, usually you don't expect things to just heat right back up for these guys getting their All-Star break and then coming back, and then all of a sudden they're going to be playing amazingly. But still, it's pretty nice, and it's a great morale booster for these guys. What kind of, if any, halo effect are you going to see when these guys get back after that experience? Or what do you usually see when a guy gets an all-star appearance, goes out, and then maybe has a good game, comes back, and you hope that maybe that's going to translate into more success in the second half.
Yeah, you certainly hope that it does, and it really depends on the players. Some people just don't just like having no days off. I mean, that's the long and short of it. They like just continuing to play because for them a day off is going to hurt them. So in terms of the fact that they like to keep playing. Now, of course, having a day off here and there is nice to rest, but 3 days off can sometimes affect some people. So for some of these players, getting to play in the All-Star game is a great honor, of course, and everyone wants to get the chance to play in the All-Star game. But some of these guys also really enjoy the day off, and it really varies on the type of player. But for most people, after the 3 days off, they come back rested, recharged, and ready to go for another 70 games in the second half. And for most of them, it's a nice break. They really enjoy it. They take advantage of it. And they get their minds right on the final day and then come back and are ready to go once again.
And, of course, that means David Kahn gets his 3 days off as well, right? No work, nothing.
Yeah, I do get a couple of days off. It is of course nice to have. Of course, not calling baseball for 3 days will be weird, but I'll find a way to manage.
David Kahn's our guest from the West Virginia Power, and, of course, baseball action happening at Appalachian Power Park. Now, Lexington. I don't like Lexington.
I know.
Yeah.
I knew this was coming.
Lexington. Let's just talk about it.
Okay.
What's going to have to happen here? I mean, we're talking Pets in the Park. If you can't win on Pets in the Park Day, I mean, you just, right? You have to.
I thought you were going to say if you can't win on Thursday tomorrow, there's a problem.
Well, no. I mean, I'm looking at Pets in the Park Day, man.
I know, but I thought you were going to go to Thursday. I know that's your favorite day.
It's everybody's favorite day, is it not?
But yeah, no. Look. The long and short of it is, yes. The goal is to win every game from here on out. I mean, that's the mainstay goal for everyone on this team. They know that their backs are against the wall in terms of a first half playoff spot, and look, they're gonna fight it out tooth and nail to the very, very end of the first half. They want this playoff berth. They know they can get it, and they're gonna work really, really hard and see what they can do. I mean, it is Lexington. The rivalry is alive as well, and we'll just have to see the way the cookie crumbles. I'm as hopeful as you that we go on a little streak and make things interesting the last couple of weeks of the first half, but we'll just have to wait and see.
So what's coming up promotion-wise? Of course, I think we hit the two big ones, Pet in the Park, and of course you've got Thirsty Thursday. Tell me a little bit more about this rail passenger disembarkment that's on the front page of the website right now. You've got a rail correspondent visiting Appalachian Power Park.
Yeah, so it's actually a very interesting promotion that we've got going on. So the Summer by Rail program basically picks a correspondent or a college intern. Jacob Wallace is the intern this year. And every year they send him through just by traveling by train, by Amtrak, to go to different cities and kind of explore the infrastructure of the different cities. And each year they wrap it into a theme. This year they're wrapping it into minor league baseball. And we're lucky that Jacob selected Charleston as one of his 19 baseball stadiums to come to. So he's getting into town tonight, going to explore the city a little bit, going to be meeting with the toast man, Rod Blackstone, and the mayor tomorrow morning, Mayor Jones. So we're excited that he's be able to set that up. And then he'll be coming to the ballpark tomorrow to kind of look at some of the new and exciting things we've installed at the ballpark over the last few years, talk to some of our front office members, and then he'll stick around for the game. He'll be shooting lots of videos and taking lots of pictures, interacting with me on the radio broadcast. He'll be enjoying himself, some of our specialty food options, and we're excited to have him out there. It's going to be a great opportunity. We're excited that we got to partner with minor league baseball and the Rail Passengers Association, and Jacob is a wonderful young man, and we're excited to have him out here.
Plus, he picked, of course, Thirsty Thursday to show up.
I mean, look, I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah.
I mean, come on. It's legendary. You know it is.
You're not wrong, Paul. You're not wrong at all.
David Kahn joining us on the program. It is Power Baseball. You can find out more by heading to the website, wvpower.com. And, of course, lots of good things happening. And let's hope that we're talking about a nice run towards the end of the first half. The good news is, no matter what, the second half will start soon, and everybody will be back to 0-0, no matter what happens.
That's right. And, of course, if the first half isn't in the cards, second half, here we come.
David Kahn, West Virginia Power. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Paul. Sounds good.
We got more on the way. This is The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Eight 877-420-TALK, the number to be a part of the program. I'm your host, Paul Swann. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. And don't forget, if you ever miss any part of the show, you just want to go back and catch it, all you have to do is listen to the program on Apple Podcasts. We podcast every night. We're also on Stitcher Radio. You can listen to us on TuneIn. Of course, that's a great way to listen to us live on your phone or your streaming device if you can't listen to us on the radio. And you can always find the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on the Anchor app, so you can listen to us there. And if you do like the show, definitely let us know. Leave us a review, especially on Apple Podcast, 5 stars. Make sure it's a 5-star review. That's what I'm asking everyone to do for me. And, of course, you can also go to our website. You can do it the old-fashioned way. All you have to do is go to WRVC.com. Let's turn our attention now to high school. And over the weekend, the third title for the Hurricane Redskins became a reality as Hurricane won against Wheeling Park 11-5 at Appalachian Power Park in Charleston. And joining us on the program now, Hurricane baseball coach Brian Sutphin. And, Coach, congratulations. It's got to be a great thrill, especially with all that weather problems that were happening over the weekend, to finally get it all done and be the champion.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great ride. Those kids were a lot of fun to be around every day. Things light during that those rain delays, and it was just fun to be a part of. That was a special group of 10 seniors, no doubt.
Did you have any feeling that this would be the year with this group of kids you had coming back, that this would be the best run you would have in a while to win that championship?
Well, we knew we had certainly had enough talent. I mean, the year before we made a run and got to the state title game, and certainly fell short of their goal. Lost in the state championship game, and so that kind of set in their craw a little bit, and I'm sure they wanted another crack at it from day one. That was kind of their ultimate goal, but you never know if they're going to and get that opportunity. And then we had to kind of rally during the sectional tournament and regionals and really persevere. And then we get to the state tournament. Obviously, we did not play well on Thursday night, the semifinal game, but certainly found a way to win. And I think through that adversity, they could kind of lean on that they kind of been there and done that before. So today it was a tough group, a very unselfish group, and certainly a whole lot of fun to be around.
Why do you think you've been fortunate to have such talent over the last few years, that you had amazing depth on this team? Was this just that special of a group and they really decided they were going to put the work in for you?
Yeah, every year is different. Certainly there's a little bit of tradition here where I think that the kids want to uphold a higher standard and push each other to be the best they can be. And, this particular group was a really tight-knit, team-oriented, special bond type group. And I think that was the, that'll be their mark. I mean, whether or not they won the state championship game or whatever. I mean, I know that they would have saw that as a failure if they wouldn't have, got their ultimate goal. But their mark is their unselfishness, and the kids that maybe didn't, weren't getting to play as much as the others cared just as much, if not more, than the ones that were out there, and that's really what made that group, such a successful group, and obviously I think that's what pushed them over the edge in the state tournament.
What kind of legacy do you think they leave behind for the kids you've got coming back? I know you just won the championship, and I'm already talking about next year.
Well, I think just being a great teammate to one another and learning how to bide your time. A lot of those kids didn't get to play when they were younger in their career, and certainly were good enough players to do so. But they kept battling and getting better and really, in the off season going to the weight room and those types of things. But this particular group was a well-rounded group. I mean, we've got a senior going to the Air Force, one going to the Naval Academy, one going to West Point. We've got seven players going to play in college. They were a very driven group, and I think they fed off each other, as far as their work ethic and those type of things. And that it's just a special group. That doesn't happen every day.
Hurricane baseball coach Brian Sutphin joining us on the program. His squad winning the Class AAA championship. What's going on in Hurricane? Not only you have baseball now coming home with hardware, you've got softball, track and field. Everybody seems to be winning trophies these days in Hurricane. What are you guys doing up there that everybody else isn't?
Well, right now, the student body is certainly supportive of one another, and I think the sports side of it, they certainly. I've taught at 4 different high schools, and this is the hardest working, school as far as the work ethic, whatever sport they're playing, and it's been fun to watch. I mean, the soccer team won it in the fall, and then we've had three spring, state championships. So that certainly doesn't come around every day.
It's really fun. I know winning is always fun, but it's especially fun when it feels like everyone's together, and it does feel like Hurricane has this great sense of community about them. So you're very blessed there. So what's next now? You've got to, of course, get ready for next season, and you finally get some time off, right, just to enjoy this a little bit before you have to go at it?
Well, today was a great day for our baseball group. Trey Dawson was drafted in the 15th round by the Houston Astros, and Trey graduated with us in 2015, and he was the shortstop at University of Kentucky, but he was drafted today. So today's a really special day for him and his family, but yeah, we're already, like you said, looking forward to 2019. I know a lot of these guys that put forth the time and effort. Guys don't know their names yet, but they certainly are chomping at the bit for the opportunity.
Well, Coach, we wanted to have you on to say congratulations, talk to you for a minute, because it was a fun run. It was, I'm sure, painful at times just because of the weather situation, but I know you wouldn't have it any other way. Absolutely,
yeah. It was really enjoyable run, and it's unique once you do that. It's certainly you want to do it again and again. But it was truly a blessing for all of us. It was a lot of fun.
I'm going to throw it out there now. I'm thinking dynasty. I'm just going to throw that out there, and the pressure's on now.
Well, I like the way you're thinking, but there's a lot of good. Baseball, gotten better all across the state year after year, and I think just kids play more. The facilities are better, and those type of things. But I know that they hold themselves to a high standard. I would be surprised if we come back and certainly compete every opportunity we get and give ourselves a chance. So that's all you can ask.
Hurricane baseball coach Brian Sutphin joining us on the program. Coach, congratulations. Thanks for giving us a few minutes of your time, and let's go Redskins next year, right?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Coach. We're going to take our final time out. We'll open up the phone lines for you at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. We've got more on the way. It's The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Now, back to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Don't forget, you can follow the show on Facebook. All you have to do is find The Drive with Paul Swann and then like us. And we'll post podcasts there, give you guest updates, things that interest me that we might be having on the show. And, of course, you can interact with me there. All you have to do is go to Facebook and like The Drive with Paul Swann. Also, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Paul Swann, and we sometimes put polls, questions, anything like that, you can find there on Twitter. So if you would, give us a follow. And, of course, always the podcast as well. So appreciate you following us on social media. Close to the end of the show, don't forget we've got Cavaliers basketball coming up tonight. The Cavs taking on Golden State. This is going to be a tell-all game. I know some are saying that the Cavs are at least going to get one, but right now, the only thing that's happened in this series is that Golden State has held serve at home. If the Cavaliers can hold serve at home and then crack the code on them and get one on the road, all of a sudden, this is a series again. Of course, it begins tonight. We'll have that for you starting at 8:30. You can listen in on our sister station. It's Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340, as we'll have Pirates baseball coming up later on this evening here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. And then tomorrow, we have got a possible elimination happening in the Stanley Cup Finals. Golden State and the Cavaliers might be the series that's a sweep right now, but I still think in the NHL that Vegas is going to fight back. I hope I'm right. We're going to find out tomorrow, and we're going to have that game for you as well, and you can listen to it right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I think Golden State and the Cavaliers might end up in a sweep after what happens tonight, if that's any indicator, but I'm telling you, on the hockey side, I think Vegas comes back. Not saying they're going to win it now. That's going to be too much of a uphill battle for them. But I think Vegas comes back and at least makes it a series. If not, though, we're going to see Alex Ovechkin with the Stanley Cup. I'm okay with that to a degree because I think Ovechkin is a really good player that gets a lot of grief for not having a Stanley Cup or the fact that he's just had struggles in the playoffs because, well, the Pittsburgh Penguins have been there as a roadblock. TJ Oshie, I like that kid too. We're talking about the hero of the Olympics a few years ago. We're talking about the man who single-handedly beat the Russians in the shootout. You got to love that guy. I don't care if you hate the Capitals or not. You got to love TJ Oshie. He's an American hero. Hey, Olympic hockey, Olympic sports, again, I'm all about it. You beat the Russians in hockey, you are in my personal Hall of Fame as far as hockey heroes and sports heroes are concerned. For our producer, Gabriel Sellers, I'm Paul Swann. Thanks for listening. Back tomorrow, stronger than ever, here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Good night.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Huntington Sports Station.